right, are we ready? All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 1st, 2014 meeting of the Merrimack Conservation Commission. It is now 6:34 p.m. And we do have a quorum with Tom, Matt, Gage, Mike, and myself, Tim. So Cindy has a previous engagement, won't be here, and I haven't heard from Lauren yet today, so that makes the commission. Announcements, this is the final week and weekend of deer hunting season. So if you're going to be out in the woods this week and this coming weekend, please wear your hunter orange. Stay on the trails. And if you are a hunter, go to merrimackoutdoors.org and you can find out which conservation properties allow hunting and which don't. So that's all I have for announcements. Anyone else have any announcements? All right. So I don't see anyone from the public. We have no appointments, no statutory advisory business, straight to old business, and funding for police patrols at Greater Woods. This agenda item just follows up from the previous meetings that we've had recently. Matt, did you have an opportunity to speak to your subcommittee about doing any prep for this? Pamphlet, that kind of stuff?
Yes, the subcommittee will be able to put together a pamphlet.
Yeah?
Yep. They said that they'd be happy to do it and have it done by spring when we plan to get the patrols
Okay.
kicked off.
Does spring mean March sometime?
We decided to skip the December meeting,
Mm-hmm.
so we're going to get back together in January, and that's probably when we'll start planning it, and I'm sure we could have it done by March.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking by April we want to have the police in here making final arrangements and stuff like that, so. Because we'll be into mud season by April, right?
Right, we recognized the fact mud season, so we didn't set a date, but we spoke about the fact that we need to get it done by mud season, so.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, that makes things easier then. Appreciate that. Let's see what else I have for notes. And then I guess the last thing we want to do is make sure that we plan for doing, once we have the pamphlet together, to do a training session with the police, you know, either on property or at their, at the PD. We just sit down and introduce the pamphlet and kind of talk about things.
One concern I have is if they're patrolling an ATV all the time, they're not going to get to know the whole trail system. Turn your mic on, please. Sorry. One concern I have is if they're 100% ATV patrol, is that they're not going to get to know the whole trail system because they'll be under ATVs. Another concern I have is interaction with the public. I think if they weren't on ATVs all the time, they would be able to have more interaction face to face with the public. Those are two concerns that I have about 100% ATV patrol.
No, we spoke about that, but I don't know if we ever really made any kind of decision. I mean, the police obviously have some concern about trying to get to somebody,
Yeah.
obviously, but, maybe that's a good point, is we can have, can you mix, we ask them, how the patrols, if we could say, we'd like some kind of mix, use out there.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think at the end of the day that they'd be open to doing that.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it's our money, right?
Right.
Well, it's the taxpayers' money, but he who holds the purse string tends to decide
Right.
what things happen to some extent. So, no comment from Tom over there, huh? Okay.
Battling the beginning, so head cold,
Yeah.
and so
As always said next to me.
Got his mic on?
I have no desire to share.
Yeah. Okay.
I went and inspected the State Highway Department today, so.
There you go. All right, so do we have anything else on this agenda item then? Okay, well, quickly moving forward. Gates enclosing a portion of South Greater Road. So this is I put this on the agenda because we've kind of talked about this in multiple different times. At one point earlier this year, we kind of tied it, or maybe I tied it to doing a forestry project out there at Greater Woods. And I was thinking that no matter what, whether we do forestry or not, we still want to put gates up and we still want to close a portion. So let's try and move something forward. And it could be, it's going to take a little while. It's going to require a meeting with the town council. The town council may even want to have a public hearing. Maybe that's probably required because there's laws around closing off portions of roads and legal review and all that other stuff. So if we don't get it going now, we won't have it ready in time for spring, when we can actually put the gates in. So,
Good idea.
so when we reviewed this last, and we put this into the stewardship plan, so it's obviously well-known if people are paying attention that we plan on doing this, that the two gate locations, one of them would be in the most southern spot we can on South Greater Road, as South Greater Road leaves our property. And the other one would be ideally right where our property line starts on South Greater Road, coming from Amherst. At a point where we can have some control over traffic trying to get around the gate.
Are you talking about two different gates here?
Two different gates.
So one on South Greater Road.
Well, both on South Greater Road, one at the southernmost portion of where our property line is, where we own both sides of the road, of the
Oh, you
road.
mean like towards Wilson Hill?
Yeah, just past the beaver pond, basically,
yeah.
where it's overrun
Okay.
the road anyways. And then one up really close to the residence that's up, on South Greater Road. So, but right where our property line is. So therefore, he still has complete access to his property, his stone wall, and anything that he might need to do. So he doesn't need to come to us for a gate key, or we don't have to supply him a gate key and all that other stuff. So that way, he has all the access he needs. So, and of course, would be probably willing to help make an arrangement for him anyways, if the gate was a problem. So, so what I wanted to do was to bring this up with Eileen and get the ball rolling for legal review and all that other stuff, and get some advice from that perspective. If you folks were accepting the idea.
I think we've kind of talked this to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were all in agreement, I believe, last time, so I think we should just move forward.
Okay. Is everyone good with that?
Yes.
All right.
No problem.
All right.
Can we-
Good.
I just want, real quick, while
Yep.
we're on the gate, subject to gates, with the MVD well going into Mitchell Woods, I know this is kind of jumping ahead, but that gate that's there is in
Yeah.
horrible disrepair, so is that, that where we already have, I guess it's already there, does it need to go in and kind of review if we're gonna put another gate up, or does that, is that something that needs to be lumped into the conversation for that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I would think that we're free to replace a broken
Right.
gate.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
You might want to send a little note
Mm-hmm.
to the police department and fire department and whatnot,
Yeah.
it's gonna be,
Yeah, well, we would carry over the lockbox,
Repair,
so
replace.
they'd be able to access through the
Yeah.
gate, just like they've always been
That
able
would
to
need a
do.
new lockbox and everything over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who installs the gates?
Well, we've hired to have that done, right?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both of.
Yeah, we've hired and we've had work days that put them in.
so if you're gonna put that out to bid, then that's notification, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But, just let other people know that this is gonna happen, so someday they're gonna walk out there and go, what's this?
Yeah.
Even though it's a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
can be perceived as a good thing,
Yeah.
just helps to communicate that kind of stuff, that you're gonna replace it.
I think we want to coordinate that with MVD though, because they may have certain requirements for width and stuff like that. And then maybe, maybe they can help fund the gate replacement too, if they impose special requirements on us.
Well, if you're gonna have structure back there, you're gonna have to be able to get a fire truck in there, so whatever that width is, 10, 12 feet.
Right,
It's gotta be close to that now anyways.
right. Yeah, because they've been able to get trucks, forestry trucks through there already, so. But, all right, yeah, so when we get further along with the MVD well, then we should probably bring that back up again, unless you think it's important to do the gate earlier. I don't think we've had any issues out there, right, so.
Yeah, the lock doesn't work anymore. It's just.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. All right, so anything else on gates in South Crater Road? Gonna be a quick meeting. Unless I just jinxed us. All right, so the MVD well at Mitchell Woods. I posed questions that we raised and which caused us to table this from last meeting, and I don't have answers. I got no feedback yet, so I'm waiting for Jill to get back to us from those questions that were raised last time, with regards to having access across the sanitary zone in order for us to do the maintenance that we need to do, water control activities and all that.
Yep.
The idea of trails and who can access them. I did get some further information, and you can see that in the email as to what the wetland rules are that kind of govern all this, in case you wanted to do any of that homework. I don't know if you saw that or not.
was it?
And I saw the deed.
No, he had an attachment that referenced the
Yeah,
ES rule,
Yeah.
or
Is
rules.
that what
deal
they
with
they
it.
changed that in the one they changed in the deed?
yeah, the,
They added that into the deed. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, so
I
you
have
can,
not.
you can look up that rule. I started looking at it, but there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
So,
The deed kind of sounded like you could, like other, construction of a pump house, other structures, tree cutting, removal, all this stuff.
yeah, 'cause
We are
the trustees were concerned about their forestry operations.
we
So-
are definitely gonna have to do something a little bit more concrete out there as far as that exclusion zone. Because even just in the last couple of days, I've been back there a couple times in the last few days just to, because obviously there's a new device back there. And the paintball activities have picked up a bit.
Wow.
So there's a lot more pallets out there, a lot more shields and things, so. They're having a good time, which is fine. They're not doing any really damage or anything, but they're right in that area, so. It's gonna have to be something that we address.
Yeah, which may cause some more paintball activity before,
Yeah.
before we're done.
As long as you're not the target.
That's right.
I just hate to do it. I mean, they're kids that the only reason we know about it is because we got the dam out there. They're not bothering anybody. It's not in people's cars. It's out in the woods. And
Well, the other thing you can do is you have a neighborhood meeting or
Yeah.
something like that and say, hey, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
you know,
can you shift your activities a
Right.
little
right,
bit?
yeah,
'Cause there's enough land out there to make a shift.
right, yeah. This happens to be a pretty level, flat.
Right,
It's a perfect little spot. So
right.
I'm sure we can find some other place for them to play.
Yeah.
And that can go a long way to
Yeah.
getting compliance with some of the more important stuff that's gonna happen out there.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to know.
You bring your computer?
I did. You want me to light it up?
Yeah, you have. Yeah. The next item, we have some pictures if you want to
Okay.
lengthen out the meeting a little if you want.
All right, anything else on this agenda item? All right, so let's move over to beaver and water control activities, and give me a moment to fire up the computer.
We really have two items to address on this, as far as I'm concerned. We have 3 devices installed here in town now, and they are working. And we have a 4th that we'd like to look at, is that Hanson Drive property. We did receive a quote, and I believe it went to everybody. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it. It seemed. Initially, I thought we were going to be putting fences up there, but now the quote includes an entire water tube for bypassing the dam. So its price tag is right in line with the other devices that we've installed. So,
So while the computer booths, I was curious about the Handsome Drive one. Could we just make the problem go away by removing the grate?
I looked at I looked at it a little while ago, and that was kind of my question too. And one of the workers up there they didn't want to get all that stuff into the culverts, and that's what they're afraid is going to happen. Is a lot of the sticks and stuff are going to get into that culvert now, and then they're going to have to be going into it to clean it out. So where they're not, I'm not sure if the area that I was looking at, because there seems to be another activity on the other end, which maybe I'm going to go up there.
Yeah.
I want to go up there again and look at it and see exactly where they're having the issues now, because
Yeah, because there's two culverts.
yeah,
Both ends of that pond.
Right.
So
so
that's why I was wondering if we just took them out. The hole's way too big for the beavers to. Well, I probably shouldn't challenge them like that.
No,
right?
no.
yeah. So that's the same. I got kind of a couple good pictures to show you, but
Yeah.
You're gonna say, oh, they won't be able to do that. And all that is a challenge to our local heroes.
Yeah.
Well, the results so far, I mean, granted, we're only a few days into this, but the results so far are pretty encouraging. The devices that we installed were seemingly successful. So,
Well, I think you're frustrating the heck out of the beavers at the end of Greens Pond Road. Because all I do is I see that, it started to ice over, and you
Yeah.
just saw a trail
Yeah.
in there. And I looked at that and I went, he's been making a lot of trips.
yeah. There's an MCC folder in there, and as you open it, you'll see it drills down to beaver and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they started last Thursday. I think they started last Thursday over in Meadowwoods, and they got some PWD got in there and helped us remove a couple logs that were laying perpendicular to the dam, and it stopped us from setting the pipe at the right level. They came in there and got that pulled out for us, so that pipe actually went into the right level now. So it's going to MCC and Beaver, and there's another folder in there called photos somewhere. Should be. There you go. Up top, photos. All right. So if you want to go and just Meadowwoods, start with Meadowwoods 1 initial.
Initial, okay.
Yeah. So this is just so.
I'm gonna hit the lights here for a moment.
Yeah. So just so you guys know what we're looking at.
Whoops,
Let me
whoops, I'm gonna do a backup on your. Yeah. Here we go. Thank you.
So you guys know what you're looking at when you'll see the couple of photos. The main. You were obviously, this is the drain. This is the sewer easement that goes along the backside. It goes up into Jessica. This is down the end of the road right there where the gate is walking in. This is the emergency overflow, and obviously you see the size of that circle. That's the water level right now, and it's been dammed up. So
Mhm.
that's how much higher this was, and you can see the trees over here. They're a good section of the front is underwater.
Yeah.
The main drain is this right here.
Yeah.
So you want to look at there should be a number 2.
Oh, you want me to go back to?
No, yeah, just keep. No, yeah. I mean, I can identify what they are. Yeah.
What?
So if you go to so you can go look at either one of these two. That's the drain that was put in there out in that pond, in that,
Yeah.
in that small pond.
Yeah.
So that's one end of the beaver pipe, and as you can see,
Yeah.
they're already working on it. So But that's the pipe that's in the water, the dam is up here,
Okay,
and then, so I'm standing back at the overflow location at the drain, and that's looking out into the small pond. So if you wanna go to the next one. Should be another number 2.
did I go
Right.
too far?
So, no, that's it. So
Okay.
that first picture where it said the main drain, this
Yeah.
is the main drain.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now you see the whole thing.
You can actually see it now.
Yeah.
And, so this, and you can see this snowing here a little bit, so this was roughly 24 hours after this was installed. And you can see what the concept is now is the beaver will dam up along this outside edge, and as the water level rises, we're gonna start seeing water coming out through the tube here. So it's never gonna get above, this pond out here will never get above this level.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this is this is what you couldn't see before, it's just absolutely covered over with sticks and rubber. So when you walk down there now, that front pond is about 1.5 feet lower than it was. So it's considerable amount of water went through there. I don't think there's any more on that one,
Okay.
but,
I was hoping I would.
they're not really in any kind of order, I just threw them in there.
All right, so where do you want to go now?
Yeah, you can go look at those, two number 3s. That should be you can see, this is,
Oh,
the trees and stuff we're in.
yeah,
That's the fence post that's on that guy's property right on the side. You can see where the water level's been,
yeah,
and this is obviously this is about 24 hours later. So it's, but, the typical, you said, you saw them over in Natticook there, they're cleaning out the thing and the beaver's swimming back to it when we're walking away. And 24 hours later, it looks like you haven't been there. So this is the first time we've been able to go 24 hours and actually see a substantial difference in water level.
Right.
So, if you, go back into just the directory a little bit.
oh, okay,
And then see
Oops.
the data. So this is Mitchell Woods. So this is kind of give you an idea what's installed out there. That's obviously the same concept. This is what is installed out in all the locations so far. So
Yeah.
this is obviously a pretty long pipe. You can get an idea. That's Mike. He's easily 6 foot. Big guy. And so that's a long piece of pipe.
yeah,
And this is Mitchell, so he's made a substantial breach right here, and that pipe is going through there right now. So you can, you don't have to go through all this, I mean, there's a bunch of pictures on it, that shows you what they looked like before and kind of where they are now. If you go into, that was Mitchell installed. That's looking out at the whole thing, you don't really need to, if you wanna look at one of these two. It's one with 24 at the end of the plus 24. So, one of the areas that we had a big problem, Madison Drive, this is the backyard of the folks in Madison.
Yep.
And what was happening when they were damming this up, the water level was climbing up above this and streaming into their backyard. This is 24 hours after after that pipe was installed. You can see the wet here, see where the water was
yep,
before. So we're down 6 or 8 inches in the back of Madison. And again, 24 hours, we've never been able to hold them off at that
At
point in
that.
time.
yeah.
Did they install yesterday on a Sunday?
No, this was last week.
Oh, okay.
This was last Thursday.
So we're looking at a stream here?
Yeah, this is the stream that starts up in the beaver ponds behind the middle school, down behind the beaver property in the field there,
Yeah.
and it comes under the Bruce Cliff Road and comes in behind us and empties out into the Mitchell Pond, Mitchell Woods. And then the other one that you want to show you real quick is there's one of the Natticook.
This one here, yeah.
So this is our favorite. Yeah. All right. So that whole structure, like what you saw before, is here.
They're working on
Out
it.
into the water. They
Yeah.
pulled that Cadillac grate off.
Yeah,
Again, this is 24 hours after the, this was absolutely clear.
yeah,
I mean, the only place that was any stuff was Mike put some stuff across the top over here to hammer those in and make sure that kind of keep the beaver from trying to climb in through here. So this is 24 hours. So they're already, and again, this is the same like the other one was. The water was streaming through here, and once they filled this up here, now it was raising the water level, and now it's coming through the pipe.
yeah.
So that's 24 hours worth of work. And they're ambitious.
Right,
You know, and that's the whole, that was the third beaver device they put in that, we started Thursday and finished Saturday, or finished Friday afternoon, late Friday afternoon,
yeah.
so.
So did Public Works participate or see any of this install?
They were involved a little bit during the Meadowwoods pond. We asked them to go over there on Friday morning to help them out, because again, along the dam, there was a bunch of logs laying in there that
Yeah.
we couldn't get this pipe down to the right level, because they were coming up over them, and we couldn't get it down, so they pulled those out. I'm not sure how much they participated overall. I know they went down with Mike to see this one, because PWD and Water had a little bit of different view as to what the problem was, so that was why this one changed a little bit. I'm still
Yeah.
not, I was talking to Matt, I'm still not really quite clear what the original plan was versus what was this, because this is kind of what I was thinking was gonna happen, so. But, either way, we got 3 devices in, we got 24 hours, well up to 24 hours, we're still down water, at all 3 locations, so it seems to be working, so. These are not high tech.
Yeah,
By any means, I went and spent some time with them on Thursday evening and saw what he's doing. And they're pretty straightforward. It's a matter of understanding the shape that you want and the size,
right.
and going at it. So
And then just hammering the stuff into the mud so it doesn't move.
yeah,
right?
these are just regular. You can see the fence, these kind of fence posts.
Yeah,
And what they're doing is he's putting them upside down so the hooks are facing down.
yeah,
And he straps around them and hammers them down so they're like holding the pipes down. And it's really, there's a groove cut in the top of all these pipes as they go to vent, so there's no air bubbles in there, it won't bubble the pipe up,
yeah.
but it's really not high tech, not by any means. So, the need to see them and watch them go in, you kind of see one, now it's a matter of just understanding what shape when you have a certain, so there's some certain experience there, but overall it's pretty straightforward, so.
Good.
Must be frustrated as hell. The beavers. To hear the running water and not being able to
And not be able to do
stop.
anything, yeah.
Yeah.
I went down to check out,
Could see them in the den.
yeah, I went down to,
Lodge.
down into Powder House to check out the water level, and 2 of them I'm sitting out looking, and 2 of them go swimming right by, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" So
You'd probably change their winter plans a little bit
yeah,
too.
yeah. Well, we only dropped about a foot of that, only about a foot out of that pond, so it's down. I went and looked at it Saturday morning, so it was down about 8 inches, 9 inches. So it's definitely going.
Any concerns from neighbors or anything like that?
I have not heard a peep,
Okay.
not one. I had 2 people happened to be walking by when they were finishing up Thursday night, and just stopped asking what's going on, but that was it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, well, our intent was not to drain the pond
Right.
anyways, it was just to lower it a little bit and then
Yeah.
maintain that level.
maintain that thing.
Yep.
So the pipe, the Meadowwoods pond, he put the biggest pipe in there that he could
Mhm.
without having to go after a permit.
Yeah.
So there's a 15-inch. I think he said it's a 15-inch pipe that's in there, and all it's going to do is just, in huge water volumes like heavy rains, heavy floods, or whatever like that, it's just going to help keep the pond level more constant instead of having it rise and lower again.
Right.
So
Yeah. Okay.
So, nothing. So beyond that, do we wanna, did anyone have a chance to look at the quote for Hanson Drive?
Looked reasonable.
I did, yeah. I mean, you want me to bring it up, or do we need to?
Do you guys need to see the quote directly, or, I mean, it's there, it's kinda right in line, it's $1,800, $1,880.
Yeah.
So, that included a maintenance plan, which all these things have a maintenance plan cranked into them, so, 1 year maintenance plan. If we approve this, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna get done this year. He's, bound by weather and temperature.
Right.
So, if we we were meeting, last Thursday, he could have probably done it this week, but, all we can do is say, yes, we wanna go ahead and do it, and he'll do it as soon as he can. See, he said he'll hold this price until he gets it in. So if we wanna go ahead with Hanson, or you wanna wait, we can go up there and review it again a little bit and see if there's something else we can do.
Yeah, my only concern with Handsome Drive is the inlet side, because we're really dealing with the outlet
Yeah.
of the pond, but it's the inlet of the pond that also has a culvert attached to it and all that too. Do we think that stream is gonna become a beaver issue, or? When I looked a couple of weeks ago, I didn't see any activity there. Did you see activity there recently?
Not recently, I haven't been up there in probably a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I went up there and looked at it initially when Tracy was first doing her rounds,
Right.
so.
So I've got a whole bunch of pictures of it, if you guys want me to turn things back on, if you wanna see it. Do you wanna, are you familiar with this area? Do you wanna see the area?
Sure.
All right, well, we can bring things back up again. I think I've got them loaded on here. Didn't hear it. Here we go.
Where's Hanson Drive?
It's off of Severance Bridge Road.
Okay.
And it also connects to Bates Road, which connects,
Okay.
Bates goes between Severance Bridge and Peasley,
Okay.
yeah, so,
Andy?
Yeah.
That's Hanson Drive.
Can't
Yeah.
think of where it'd be.
When you go up there, it kinda goes up in a circle, and there's a center spot to it that,
There's a little pond.
yeah, well, it's got a culvert, it's a drainage culvert or something in it. You actually eject those?
what's that?
You actually eject those?
I do.
I just yank them out.
Okay. Yeah,
Alright, so, I think I gotta get over there now. Looking at our map and this, I can drive there, You go out, where are we?
yeah,
Yes, you can leave. It's the middle school, Old Blood. You go down, you go across Wilson, now you go across. Where we go over Amherst, further than Amherst Road? What's that road? Meeting House, up Amherst.
I can tell from the timestamp where the pictures start, so,
So there goes Dahl Road and Hanson Drive, which is right there.
All right.
So it kinda
Like
goes
Home
up.
Depot's like down here. isn't it?
you know where this is, Handsome Drive? Do you, so you know where Severance Bridge Road is,
I know where
right?
Severn's Bridge, I know where Peasley is,
Right.
Bates Hall,
You know, okay, so,
Bates Road is.
yeah, all right, so,
A rough area,
It's this section right there.
yeah, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, all right,
Bates Road, it goes.
yeah. Okay.
Number 12 on there.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, this pond is kind of a long oval shape or a pill shape. pond, if you wanna call it that. It's got cottontails at the inlet side and it's fairly wide open water at the outlet side. So this is the outlet of the outlet side culvert. I just took a picture straight down just to see that, the outlet is there. And this is just kind of looking further downstream of the outlet, just showing that it goes into a wooded area. But we're not talking a heavy flow here, at least not at this time of year anyway, so. And this was probably 3 weeks ago. So this is another view of it. I was standing up here where the mouse is, looking at the outlet side. This is the inlet side. Okay, so, I'm sorry, no, I'm still on the outlet side. I apologize. This is where I was shooting straight down. That's the main outlet, and then this is the overflow in case it gets really wide, so.
So is that pond getting high where it's getting into property owners' yards or something?
No, not really.
It's on the other side of
Yeah,
this.
you'll see it in a second,
Right.
so, let me just get to that point. So this is now the other side of the road. Public Works had done some trimming back of trees and other brush, which caused some concern of the neighborhood, which is one of the reasons why I went down and took a look. But here in a moment, I'm just kinda, this is the pond itself. I'll get a bigger picture of it here in a moment. Yeah, that's kind of a long view of the pond now. This is where the culvert is that needs to be worked on. This is the opposite end, the inlet side. This is where the beaver are causing issues. There's a grate right here. Right? Yep. So, the overflow is up here somewhere, and higher, and it has no grate over it.
No,
So,
that's the width of a road.
yeah,
I mean,
that whole structure, yeah,
That's
it's the width of an entire road. So it's 24 feet or
Yeah.
30 feet, yeah.
and that was, we briefly, so again, going back a couple months now, it's like, can we just move the grate? And they're like, well, no, if any of this stuff gets caught in the pipe,
They have to go through
they
30
have to go,
feet.
they have to go through the pipe to clear it.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So,
It's not,
yeah, I understand. I just thought I'd ask the question, though.
Yeah.
So, this is just, I'm panning still around. You can see, this is Handsome Road here. I'll just quickly, you can see that this is all beaver chew here from some of the branches. What happened is the beavers had knocked down some of the small growth, and it dropped into the roadway, which caused Public Works to come out and clear it. And while they were in there, they decided to cut a few more away just to make sure that they didn't fall in the roadway as well. You can see, as you look, you can tell which ones were hand cut and which ones were beaver cut. There's my truck there, so you can see the whole road. That's that whole span, 30-foot span there. That's kind of another view of it. Some more half chew, and that's a full chew there. And now I'm starting to walk down the length of the pond. Granted, I took a lot of pictures. Here's from much further away. You can see the grate and then the overflow port.
so, I mean, you look at the size of that hole, you can see that pond is, easily a foot or so higher than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And the water's flowing this way?
No, it's
No, it's
flowing
flowing
towards
out.
the truck.
Okay.
It's flowing out that way.
Yeah.
And initially
It's a little further, kind of blurry, but
this summer, we thought they'd kind of moved on, and then, just this fall, they kind of came back with a vengeance.
So is the concern road flooding, or that gets blocked up?
well, it would get pretty full before the road. Well,
Yeah.
actually, there's some height here. There's probably a 7 or 8 foot change in elevation from the water to the road here.
Yeah,
But I think further down,
It's
it's closer. It's probably only 2 or 3 feet. So,
and you're gonna be holding back an awful lot of water by the time.
yeah,
I mean, that's a good sized pond. It's,
It is.
it's pretty big.
it's probably a couple hundred. It's probably a couple hundred yards long.
Yeah.
2 football fields long and about a football
Big.
field wide.
Now, when it flows under the water,
Under the road.
under the road,
Yeah.
where's the water heading? Is it headed towards Amherst? Or is it headed
It's heading towards Home Depot.
towards?
That's what I want
Oh, so it's eventually headed towards going onto Continental Boulevard.
or I think it's actually headed towards Stump Pond.
Okay.
You know what I mean by,
Yeah.
you know, which is down by
Sure.
the church and all that stuff. But that's a long ways down, though. It might, who knows, it might turn another direction, but I think that's the only water body.
So it goes
area.
under 101A?
No, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'd have to bring up a
That's all right.
GIS map and start tracing it, so.
I think it
I think
goes
eventually,
towards Continental.
yeah. It might end up over by Joey and
You're right, you're right, it might end up that way, over by Joey, yeah.
and eventually, eventually does go out to about under 101A.
But I think there's too high of an elevation there for it to get that far. But whatever.
Where does it drain
I
now?
think it goes to Stump Pond, which is near the, where Taylor Rental used to be in the church.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that with the
Yeah.
Merrimack South Baptist Church, I think it heads to that, Stump Pond.
So it goes under Severance Bridge Road at some point.
Yeah, but it probably goes under Boston Post Road at some point,
Boston Post and Severance.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
but,
Sorry.
yeah.
Get off track.
So this is the inlet side, and this is the water coming into the pond. This is all the way past the cottontail, or the catnip and all that other stuff that you saw there. You can see there's both these pipes are at the same level, as opposed to the other one having one high and one low. So they're both working. This is the other shot, this is the stream that comes in from the other side of the road, and I think I've got a picture looking straight down. Now, straight in, you can see it's a bit messy. There's branches and leaves and stuff like that, but it didn't look like fresh beaver activity. It more looked like, water flow
Right.
caused this, and it just hasn't been cleaned in a long time. So, but there's no grates on here either.
Yeah, that's a much narrower. That's the narrow side, though.
Yeah.
It's only it's 6 or 8 feet wide, isn't it?
It's a whole, it goes all the way onto the road.
On this inlet
Yeah,
side.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, all the way onto the road,
So that's closer to the Bates end of.
close to the, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to shoot some more pictures to get a little, but my focused on the ground, not the junk in the water, so. I didn't go into the woods to get a good shot of the actual inlets, so. And that's looking much further back. 'Cause it's all wet. The, above where my mouse is, Handsome Drive is much higher in elevation, because if you look at the way the road goes, it gets picked up and then it goes up to Bates Road. And then there's another road that circles the pond. Half of it is Handsome Drive and the other half is another name. I forget what it's called. So it looks to me like all the high water from Hanson Road comes down through a whole section and kind of works its way to this pond, and then it goes out the other end of the pond and works further down towards Home
Landau.
Depot. Yeah,
Landau Lane.
okay. So, and that's just kind of showing you that it's kind of wet and marshy going in. And I think that's, it's almost it. This is back to Meadowwoods where Gage was just showing you. That's the inlet that was all covered over. I took shots that day when I was out there in November, and that's the beaver pond, which now probably is a big pipe right here where the beaver box was, right?
The box is still there, but it's right next to it. It's right up
Right next to the
no,
box?
on the other side.
This side
Yeah,
over
it's right
here?
there.
Okay. So, all right, so that, that's kind of a review of the Handsome Drive area. So, I suspect the concern is that if the beavers really are good at it, that they would end up causing the other end of the road to get, it would start coming up on the other end,
The inlet side.
the inlet side, yeah, but not close to the inlet, kind of just to one side of it,
Yeah, it doesn't seem as though they're working on the inlet side. It's only on the outlet side.
yeah.
But it would raise the level, though.
So,
Yeah.
when I was out there looking, I couldn't find an actual beaver dam, and one of the neighbors told me that they're bank beavers,
Yeah, they're living up in the.
living in the bank. So, yeah, but I didn't want to go just too far to disturb them too much.
They dig a tunnel into the bank, or?
Yeah, like some,
Is it under the water?
With bank beavers, you can see them in rivers as well. They create a hut in a structure, but they might utilize aspects of the bank too.
Below-
they
below water
underpin,
level.
yeah, they underpin roots and stuff, and they dig up under the,
Oh, cool.
under the bank.
So. All right,
I have some
so hopefully
pictures
that's
of
helpful.
Gunpowder River in Maryland, if you really wanna see it.
It's okay.
So with Hanson, I was, you know, I was wondering whether or not we really needed to do something, and now I understand we do. At some point, do we wanna rely on Public Works to do some of this? See, what's unusual about this is technically not our property, you might say. The pond is owned by the association. And the structures are parts of Public Works. So talking to Adam told me that the town has the easement or the responsibility of maintaining the culverts and all that, but the property itself is not ours. So do we need to get permission from the association to do work out there? Or is it considered within the easement of the culvert, which I think it is, and therefore we don't?
Well, would this be a chance to approach Adam, see if he wants to, they wanna try one? I mean, it's,
Seems
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, I'd just be concerned bringing in a private entity to do work without knowing where it's town and where it's not.
Yeah.
Now, I have heard from some of the neighbors who said that they want the beaver to be there.
oh,
And-
yeah,
And they're willing to help to make sure that the beavers stay.
well,
so-
I don't think that's obviously not been our focus, is to remove the beaver.
Right,
So,
right.
we're back to, this is a water level management project.
So,
So, I mean, I guess that's gonna be up to Adam and Kyle, I guess, if they feel the water level is impacting infrastructure.
well, I think they do, and that's why they've been
Yeah.
maintaining it and doing the cutting back and all that, so. It's the question of you know, since it's not town land, do we have an extra step? Or is it considered part of their, I don't know what to call it, easement or right of way or whatever, I don't,
I mean,
Probably both.
yeah.
You'd have to look on for whatever it's worth, the GIS map
Mm-hmm.
to see where the lines might be drawn. So that you get an idea of what you're dealing with.
Yeah, well, the public GIS system doesn't give us as much detail as the one that they have downstairs. So in this case, we're talking about a more a trapezoidal type structure?
He didn't really say that.
Or
Yeah,
some
I
sort of
thought that
box
was,
structure?
I thought that was what was gonna go on, and then when I read the quote, it seems to make, reference to the pond leveler with the pipe. So, I'm assuming that was going to install the same thing that he's installed in these other locations, and I don't know, maybe we should hold off on this and talk to him a little bit more about it.
Yeah,
Cause I was expecting more of what you just said, like a kind of a trapezoidal
right,
out in front of the pipe and just let it be.
that's what I was expecting too. Cause if we're talking a pond level, then we're clearly gonna be outside the bounds of any easement area. Cause that pipe's gotta be long enough, right? You would think the pipe's gonna dump straight into the
Into the culvert.
concrete, right?
And there's no, I mean, he's gonna build around that, similar to what you saw at the Meadowwoods side, he's probably gonna have to build out around that piece a little bit,
Mm-hmm,
so the pipe has a place to come in and dump,
right.
and then the beaver can dam around the outside of it, and so I mean, I'm assuming that's exactly what he's gonna do. Whether the trapezoidal will be cheaper, I don't know,
Yeah,
cause they have to build bottoms on those.
right.
So they don't come up underneath. So I don't know, that might be, I don't know, maybe we should talk to him a little bit more about it, find out what's going, cause that might be one that, the little deck. You know, that they built, well, I know, I mean, there's some of those pictures are kinda neat, they build those little decks, and that might be a perfect location for it.
Right.
You know, either we're gonna say it's some kind of water hazard by, have to put railings and stuff on it, I don't know,
Well, I suspect we have to make it ADA compliant.
so. Well, I can contact them and find out, and, you know, get a little bit more info out of this, but we are obviously to a point where the damming activities tends to die down in the winter.
Yeah.
So we may be beyond the need to do it right now anyways.
That's,
So if we're gonna be into the spring before we do this, I don't think it really makes a whole lot of difference if we wait now.
okay. Yeah, I'd like to get a feel for if it's a pipe mechanism, are we within our area of playing? Is this something that Adam and his team wanna do? Because there's easy access.
Right.
You know, it's really close to the road. It'd be easy to drive by to see if it was working or not. Is this where they wanna try, take their first stab at it?
Okay.
And then it comes down to who wants to fund the work. So,
Well, I'll get with Tracy, she's got a lot of pictures too of how the construction of the other ones, so.
mhm.
And Mike, said he'd obviously be available to people have questions, so.
You might wanna have, a little approach Eileen, or have Tim approach Eileen about getting a legal opinion on how far you can go. Because it's gonna happen again, the
Yep.
issue's gonna come up again.
Well, yeah, I mean, in fact, I know where it's gonna come up again, that's the Natticook Road extension. Because we have a sewer easement that lets them do work out there, but we don't actually own the land.
Yeah, so, you know, you might wanna bundle those two together and have that sent over to the town council
Yeah,
for
'cause the
review.
Natticook Extension also is gonna be where, they're expecting us to remove some material.
Right.
And you're allowed to use power equipment as long as you're into the water, so they could get they can get a backhoe right up against the edge of that and just kinda reach over and take some of that stuff out. We're within, we don't need a permit for that. But it is something that's gonna have to be done, and if we're dredging, we're not really on our property, it's something we have to
Yeah,
keep track of.
yeah, I was almost wondering, do we wanna have a joint meeting with Public Works to go over these other issues in town and kinda outline all of them and put together a whole bunch of questions and deal with them all as a body of work as opposed to piecemealing them, you might say?
We can do that. We have a good list of areas, and
Yeah.
we can go inspect them and get a good idea of what.
Now's the time, because if there's budgetary implications, they get time to review and
Right.
request.
All right.
All right, so next meeting is 2 weeks from now, the 15th of December. We have one project that I know of, and I suspect we'll have a wetlands permit, a dredge and fill permit that we'll have to take a look at. Do we want to try and do it for this, or do you want to wait to the first meeting in January, which is the 6th, I believe, of January, something there about, you've got the calendar, but it's early January anyways. And
Early January might be a good idea, 'cause,
yeah, we probably have to prep some work too, right, or figure out what it is.
yeah, and Tracy's, GZA is planning on being here, first January meeting for an update on the report, and
Okay,
so that might be good to have her in attendance, have Tracy in attendance.
yeah, all right. All right, do you want me to work with Adam and Rick about getting together and coming to the meeting, or is that something you wanna do?
I can reach out to them. I mean, we're already bouncing a lot of this stuff back and forth anyway, so.
That's what I thought, yeah,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, let them know, because what I would like to do is, we've hit a few of the 35 locations. We knew some of them were immediate and some of them were next to a medium, is that the term that's used in the report?
Yeah, we were, yes, yeah, I think you're right, medium priority.
Priority wise. We had immediate action and it required
Low to
them,
moderate,
yeah.
moderate, and high.
Yeah. So essentially, I'd like to go through as many of these as possible that we think we need to do something, because some of them, I think we're not gonna do anything at all with, I suspect. So I'd like to hit basically all the rest of them and put a game plan together as to which ones have questions, what are the questions, and try and work them all as a body.
Okay.
Make sense? Make it a good working meeting on January 6th? Is the
Fifth.
6th, the 5th, sorry, the 5th,
Right, yeah, 15th, 5th.
okay. Yeah, guess we should be prepared to make decisions as to who funds what as well when we're there.
We might run into some issues. That's about when we're gonna be reviewing budgets. So, and we'll be done before the 26th. So, but I mean, it may interfere. That may be their night for the public works budget,
Okay,
okay?
No, I'll get with Adam and find out. I
Right.
think the next meeting's gonna be too soon, but
I do too. Yeah. Yeah. Well, could push it out as well, but then there may not be budget. It may have to be a budget adjustment then. Well, let me ask a very straightforward question of the commission. Do you think dealing with most of these beaver issues falls under our funds, or do you think we should decide, is it conservation property or is it town property, and go that route? What do you think, Tom? Do you have a thought on that?
I usually prefer that if it's, you know, an organization's responsibility, then they budget for it. And because of I would prefer if it's something that falls under the purview of the Public Works Department, then they ought to be the ones that are gonna budget for it and deal with it. Because that's who's gonna do, you know, eventually gonna have to do the work anyway.
Yeah, I was kind of using the analogy, this is a right pocket, left pocket type deal, because
Yeah.
at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
and it's, you know, it's an issue of
Comes out of one pocket.
accurately reflecting what it costs from a budgetary standpoint to take care of all the issues in the town.
Now, we suspect this has a fairly quick payback, considering the far less maintenance that should happen here, so.
Yeah.
So that should work in favor at some point, but you won't see it the first year. I don't know, or maybe you
Yeah.
would.
yeah, certainly I think the rate of return is gonna go down, obviously, as we move from the high impact areas to
Right.
the lower impact areas. But, you know, two areas that we know these guys are hitting on a regular basis, Meadowwoods Pond and Natticook,
Okay, yeah, we fixed.
are seemingly,
Yeah.
for now, we'll see how long they're fixed for, but seemingly right now are fixed.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you know, again, from my personal perspective, if we've
Mhm.
got an issue, and all we're doing is going back and redoing it
yeah,
again and again and again,
Yep.
you get into the same definition of insanity, okay? And obviously, they've got to look at other things to get this done. And you've done the work on your properties to show what the results are for these things, so you're sort of handing them a gift for how to, maximize their resources.
Okay.
Because I'm sure they all love booting up and getting in that muck and cleaning it up all the time.
Yeah, I would have to believe they've got better things to be doing.
So do I.
Yep. All right, anything else under this beaver and water control activity agenda
no.
item? All right. So that takes us to other business. At our last meeting, we spoke about needing to get more of the blue, are they triangles? Blue triangle sign markers? So Matt went out and got an estimate done, which I forwarded it to everybody.
Yep.
Basically, 4 sheets of blue triangles at $167 per sheet, total cost of $668. This is the same cost that we incurred when we got them the first time, except I noticed we don't have a setup fee. So we're actually saving $60 in setup fees.
Error in our favor.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
you're using a new vendor?
no?
Well, then you've already paid the setup fee once, pay it again
Yeah.
for a second job.
So, my question is, you know about how many markers we get out of 4 sheets, roughly?
I don't.
All right.
It was,
So the 4 sheets, it was heavy, okay?
A few hundred.
Okay,
no, I'm thinking it's 400 or 500,
yeah, okay.
because I think each sheet is almost 200. So,
And we burned through the first group.
we did, especially with the request from the public to
Oversign.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
yeah. Okay. All right, so I guess it comes down to, do we want to buy some more now that we have the quote? We already know that this was the lowest
Yep.
bidder.
Yep.
All right, motion? Fund 53?
So moved.
All right. All right, so,
Is that the right wording?
all right, so the motion is to approve the quote for 4 sheets at $167, total cost of $668 to come from Fund 53.
I'll second that.
Okay, okay, I move it, Matt seconds it. Any discussion on the motion?
yeah, these are just to upgrade the trail markings, right? I mean, we're not dealing with some horrible vandalism issues or,
Yeah, this is,
These
what-
are net new.
these are because Horse Hill needs to do all theirs as well, and they're gonna
Okay.
adopt they already used the color blue, they're gonna adopt our shape as well, so, yeah. All right, Matt, are you able to coordinate all this, or do you need me to help, I mean, so far you've been doing the
Yeah, I can-
negotiation.
I can tell him that it was
Okay.
approved and he
Do you-
can begin work on it.
Is he gonna need a partial payment or anything like that?
I don't believe so. He did not last time.
Okay,
And
Alright.
now that Xenia has him in the system, I believe it's much easier for them to
okay.
pay him once it's done.
All right, all right, cool. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, that carries 500. All right, I do have a few other items under other business.
While we're on that
Yeah,
topic,
yes.
You're gonna need to help me with a last name. Richard from a volunteer in town who has attended many of the Horse Hill Nature Preserve meetings.
Yep.
I forget his last name.
Maloon?
Malone. I'd like to thank him because he already re-signed Horse Hill on the Loop Trail.
Ah,
He completed that already.
the whole trail?
The whole
Cool.
trail, yep.
Yes, absolutely.
He even added, so much like Gage showed in his pictures with the green stakes, places where there were no trees, he pounded those green stakes in the ground with the white markers on them
Yeah,
on
wow,
Loop Trail.
cool.
So he did a great job
Mhm.
and finished it very, very quickly. So.
I know, I hadn't been out to Horse Hill in a long time. A few weeks ago, I went out there and did like a 3-mile walk, and it changed a lot. I mean, everything is well marked, and yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, and all the white triangles, if you saw those out there. That was all his handiwork. So, yeah, I would like to thank him for sure. Did a great job.
All right, I can pass a thank you off to Richard. So if you catch him at the club, you can let him know.
Will do.
All right, anything else with signage or markers? All right, so I had an email exchange with John Harvey, the chair of the Amherst Conservation Commission. John has invited us to come and attend a meeting. I asked if he would host a meeting with us, because he and I talked about us getting together, the two commissions. And he offered 2 dates, January the 14th and February the 11th, to have a joint meeting with the Amherst Conservation Commission in Amherst. Is that something that we'd like to do? And then what I can do is I can work what the agenda would be with John as we go forward,
You said,
what-
I'm sorry, Jan 14th, and what was the other one?
or February the 11th.
Probably February would be
So in
better.
February, we only have one meeting,
Oh,
and in January, we have 2 meetings.
all right, never mind.
In February, our meeting is the same week, it's February 9th. So that would be meeting on Monday for our meeting and on Wednesday in Amherst if we did the February. If we did January, we would be meeting at on the 5th of January for our meeting, the 14th on a Wednesday for their meeting, and then again on the 26th for our second
I
January
mean, it's
meeting.
definitely a good idea since, conservation land runs right into each other.
Yeah.
towns.
Yeah, what prompted this was our discussion about Greater Woods, and I know Matt's had some discussions with the folks when it comes to Greater Woods, and between the two towns, there's 1,200 acres there or something like that. So there's quite a bit of land involved, and obviously some common concerns, so.
February works better for me. I have something on the 14th of January.
Okay. It doesn't have to be the entire commission if it doesn't meet everyone's schedule. For me, February is actually better as
Yeah,
well.
February would be
Let's do
definitely better.
February 11th.
All right, are we good with that? If it
Yep.
appears we're gonna have a quorum, I will have a meeting notice posted that we'll be meeting. So, because we're gonna,
I have to go.
he didn't say the time of day. I just asked him what days he has meetings, so I can find that out, since it's a Wednesday, so,
And you'll have the address where the meeting's at.
yeah. All right?
Yep.
Sound good? Okay. I forwarded you all the invoices that Bay State's provided for the 2 projects that they helped us with this year, the trail stabilization project and Brookside Drive. I'm gonna process those like we normally do. And we did get a bill for the trees that had to be removed on Amherst Road. For the gentleman our trees were imposing on his property. I'm gonna process that. That was $1,425 to remove the trees and clean up the brush.
Wow.
Yep, and yeah, the hard part about those is they basically had to be craned or
Craned
dealt
down,
with.
yeah.
So,
Right.
'cause you couldn't just drop them. You could drop some of them, but not all of them, so it required extra equipment, and we pay the price. So, I let Public Works manage the whole thing, and just said, here, send us the bill. Because I didn't wanna have to deal with coordinating vendors and
No.
property owners and all that stuff, so. So we used Public Works, vendor, so. We've got a new forest notes, if anyone's interested in taking a look at it. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm happy to lend it out if you wanna see it first. Seedlings,
Sure.
so
wanna
we
talk about
actually just got this. Did you get your own?
Yes.
You got your own, all right,
Yeah.
so I just got one as well, yeah, if you wanna talk about seedlings for a moment.
So last year we bought we bought 400 plants. We did it over the course of 2 days, 2 Saturdays in a row, and got rid of a large majority of them. So that was well received. I put together another plan of some different, little bit different varieties this year, along with the ones that were very popular last year. We did a native species package last year, which was very popular. So I kept that in the mix, and I changed everything else. I can send out a list, or I can bring it up on the screen if you guys want to see it now.
Sure.
You answered yes to 2 questions. What would it be?
See it now.
All right.
Sorry, should have thought about
That's
that
all right.
earlier.
Yeah, not a problem. We'll just let things warm up.
Yeah, so what we've done in the past, we've always had, we're trying to keep it under $1 plant. So we're at 400 plants, that's about $360, I believe it was this year, so we're still under that marker. Went with a couple different, we have a couple options that we can go with, depends on what you guys feel is appropriate. There's a dogwood package with dogwoods that we had last year were very popular. But we also haven't supplied many of the conifers in the last couple of years, so initially I put in the Christmas tree package.
Seedling.
Yeah, and there's 15, yeah.
This one here.
Yeah, either one of them, the Excel or the PDF are the same.
Okay.
So if you scroll, yeah, there you go. That's
Is that up? That
Yeah.
the whole thing?
right. So the one on the left, is what we did last year, and the one on the right is what we're proposing this year, or what I'm proposing this year.
Yeah.
So we had a couple changes to the one on the left. The nursery reserves the right to make exchanges for plants that they don't feel are healthy when they're putting the packages together, or if they sell out of something. We got a couple different plants than what we originally intended last year. We got a couple cranberry that went very quickly. People took them very quickly. So I added those into this year's mix. As you can see at the top, we lowered. We had a lot of spruce trees left over. Not left over, but we had a lot of spruce trees. We had a lot of black walnut. So I reduced the amount that we had of the trees, and increased added the cranberry in.
Yep.
And then there's a Christmas tree sampler and a native species package, which again, that was the one that's very popular. It has a lot of flowering buds, a lot of mast for animals. People seem to like that one. So if you go a little bit more over to the right, there's that's the dogwood package that they have available, and that could go in place of either the Christmas tree or the native species package if people would rather have dogwoods. It's the same cost. They're going to do something like that again next year, so they'll. So that's up to you guys.
Well, you said the dogwoods were popular.
Yeah, I mean, when we've had dogwoods before, and people, they always want to grab the dogwoods. So
This is like the limit of their range, isn't it? Like around here, it's like this the furthest north that they can grow.
yeah, these are all relatively native species. These are all New England species. We trying to keep. This is Lauren brought up. Was it last year, or the year before? We don't want to be the ones that inadvertently introduce a new invasive. So we're trying to stick with plants that are native. So we can go with the original list. We can go with a dogwood in there, or we can.
So the Christmas tree sampler is 20 of all of those 5
Right.
varieties?
So there's 5. So each time you buy a package,
Yeah.
that's why you see there's a 4 at the top.
Yeah.
So in each package, there's 5 of each.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we'd end up with 20 of each if we bought 4 packages.
Yeah. Yeah, we had quite a few of the spruce left over from last year.
Yes. Yeah, we had a lot of spruce left over,
Yeah.
but we ended up
I vote for the dogwoods.
Over the Christmas tree sampler?
Yeah,
I'd say
that's
the
my
same.
vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say the same as well, so.
Especially since you can go into Greater Woods, into any of the clearings,
Just pluck your own.
and just pick your own
Yeah.
for miles.
Yeah. Well, last year I took a bunch of the spruces and I planted them out in Wildcat Falls.
Yeah.
Just because we had leftovers.
I did the same thing with
Yeah.
at Horse Hill.
Yeah,
No,
right,
there's extra up in Greater Woods too, so.
yeah. So,
And a couple of, walnut,
Yeah.
black walnuts too,
yeah,
so.
I did the same thing. I put some black walnuts up too,
So,
so.
And actually, some of the firs that I put in 2 years ago
Mhm.
in Horse Hill are actually, this high now.
Yeah. Yeah, when I wasn't on the commission about 5 years ago, I got some black walnuts and they're starting to, 2 of the 5 that I planted are really starting to take off now, which is good, so. Yeah, I prefer to move away from the evergreens and
Okay.
so,
yeah, we
at
haven't-
least
we-
for a year.
Yeah, we haven't really had a lot of those for, I mean, we had the spruce, but we didn't have a lot of them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy, that's a cut and paste.
Yeah.
And it leaves the price, leaves the price the same.
Yeah.
So, it'd be $360 and it'll be, I can go ahead and put that order in and we'll, looking at some time in, early to mid-May.
You think Eber is gonna help us out again?
I have not asked him. I stopped by the house the other day and he was not there, but
Yeah.
he has, every time I ask him, he's always like, oh yeah, always. He says, don't even bother asking, just, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm gonna continue to ask, so.
Please, yeah, please do.
So, Mother's Day this year is going, or the 2015 next year is gonna be, May 10th. So the 9th and the 16th are the 2 Saturdays, early in May, which are typically when they would be available to us, they'd be late April, early May, when they would call us and say they're coming.
Yeah.
So, and what we do is we in the past given them to Eber, he keeps them refrigerated and wet, and then we go in a week or so later and have the seedling, so.
Yeah.
If that's, I'm gonna shoot for the 9th, which is the day before Mother's Day, and then we can do it again the 16th. If we end up with a lot of, any extra.
Yep.
We have a couple different venues to, advertise in this year, so we're gonna see if we can get the word out a little earlier,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. If nothing else, we might wanna consider using the farmer's market as
Yep.
a last ditch effort.
Well, that's, and we're gonna, we've got a couple departments in town that have, Facebook pages and such that,
That's right, yeah,
and I have kids, so they're really good at that.
yeah. Yeah. All right.
I'm sure the PD will let you use their
Right, that's what I was saying, I mean,
signboard, I mean,
yeah. We can, I was gonna use the same,
well, it's not theirs, but
so I'm gonna make that substitution of Dogwoods for the Christmas tree sampler and go ahead and place that order.
Yes. All agreed?
Yep.
Fund 53?
Okay. I'm just gonna plan on using the same flyer that we used last year too, I'm just gonna change the dates and times on it, obviously.
Yeah,
If that
yeah.
was, acceptable.
All right. Anything else on seedlings?
Nope.
All right. I know the last few meetings we've talked a little bit about the natural gas pipeline. Tennessee Pipeline, is that their name? Or Kinder
Yeah,
Morgan?
Tennessee.
Kinder Morgan is the
Kinder Morgan
contractor.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
They have reached out to the town, and sometime, probably in the next month, we'll have a public meeting with the town council. The town council will have a public meeting to learn about what they're planning on doing, and they'll come and answer questions and stuff like that. So, I've been getting a lot of emails about the pipeline, and,
Yeah, well, yeah, the new route.
Yeah.
right,
it's not
yeah.
good.
Well, the new route takes it through, east-west, right across Merrimack, so,
Right.
right through Horse Hill and
It's coming
Beasley
through the
Road.
power line, it's coming through the power line easement.
Yeah, right down the street from your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's good, yeah. So, yeah, over by Bates Road, all kinds of Peasley Road, coming in from the west side, going all the way across the Merrimack River into Litchfield, I suspect.
Yeah.
And hitting Londonderry and then running south through Pelham.
It's
So-
weird, that, like it's jogged north, went across and came back down south, instead of going straight across, they kind of.
I don't know the name, I don't forget the website, but there's a good website, the New Hampshire Pipeline.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I think
you can go in and look at the maps, and you can go and put your town in, and it gives you the maps of your town and where the
Yeah.
pipeline's affecting it, so it's not a, it's against the pipeline, but
Yeah.
it does have good information on it.
I do know, if you're interested in learning a little bit more, the town of Mason is planning on holding a public meeting, I believe on the 13th of December, Saturday the 13th, where you can find out more about it as well. That'll be happening at one of their schools. I think it's a few-hour session, and there'll be different organizations there that have been working this for a while, in case you're interested in learning about it, and learning about what you can and can't do, and all kinds of things like that, so.
Also, this Friday, the roast
Yeah,
meeting is going to highlight
pipeline.
the
yeah.
pipeline, and it's in Milford.
When's the roast meeting?
7 p.m. at Milford Town Hall,
Is this upstairs?
upstairs,
Yeah.
in the big room.
Yeah, see,
Um,
they did this thing I told you, they did this 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Came through roughly the same alignment because I was working in Pelham at the time. And they came through Pelham. And if they're gonna be following that trail, because they said they were gonna follow what they already had, which is what they usually do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That was, back then, there wasn't as much development as there is now, and, so it was their biggest argument was fighting with the property owners for the cost of the easement. So,
Yeah, the meeting in Mason is December 13th, 9 to 1, at the Mason Elementary School.
So. All right, so that's what we know right now, but they are coming to Merrimack, so, and they do want to meet with the council, so. All right,
I suggested early on that we hold a separate meeting, just because of the heat that this has developed. It's not gonna do us any good to hold it as part of the regular council meeting, because we won't get anything else done.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Right.
I got the website. You want me to-
if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not advocating that for or against this, I'm just saying that this is a website that has a lot of information about the routes of the pipeline, so it's New Hampshire PipelineAwareness.org. And it does have, you can go back and look through your town, and you can find out where it's gonna affect you, and it's the proposed locations and that they've submitted so far
Yeah.
for the pipeline route.
I do know that folks have asked for actual GPS locations too, so that way everyone can be sure, because right now they're talking about they're gonna utilize the easements, but they're hoping to actually get an actual map, or GIS type map, so. All right, anyone else have anything under other business? All right, so that takes us to minutes of November the 17th. Get a chance to review the minutes?
I have not.
Not fully, but halfway done.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's as far as I got when I got disrupted.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, forgot about getting back to them.
Move the table.
All right?
Second.
All those in favor of tabling the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so we'll table the minutes of November 17th and pick them up at the next meeting.
By the way, if you have any concerns or whatever, get those to the council, so we got something to work off when we're dealing with them.
The pipeline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I also suggested is that we bring in this body, the planning board, the council,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there was one other. I don't know exactly, maybe it was Public Works. I'm not sure, but, just so that,
Yeah, you
we
may,
had the right coverage.
you may want to consider heritage or historic. You might want to. It's going to go right across Old Kings Highway. Yeah, so,
There's already, never mind.
yeah, I know, just whatever.
They dig the hole, they put the pipe in the ground, they cover it back up again.
Yeah.
4 months later, you can't tell.
Yeah, my understanding is they plan on utilizing the 100-foot easement area, but then leave it at 50 feet when they're all done. So they want to have extra room in order to maneuver equipment and
Right.
whatever else they need to do.
Yeah.
So. All right, I can start putting some thoughts together, because it does traverse a couple of the conservation properties, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you got it,
Yeah.
whatever the concerns are.
Yeah. Multiple water bodies, all that good stuff.
Yeah, where do they cross the river?
Yeah. That'd be something, driving by the Merrimack River and seeing bubbles come out of the river.
Don't even,
Yeah, actually, I'd be more concerned about the one that's already in the ground than the one they're gonna put in.
Yeah, you're right. All right, since we're done with minutes, no one here from the public, commissioner comments. Mike, anything?
No?
Tom?
I have nothing, thank you.
Matt?
After the storm,
Yeah.
a lot of the woods are a complete mess. A lot of the trails are yet to be fully opened. As Mike was saying, the same situation applies at Greater Woods. So if you're out there, just be careful about what's above you, hanging up in the trees and hasn't yet
Yeah,
come to the ground, because there's a lot of stuff still hanging 20 feet above the ground, 40 feet above the ground, that just hasn't hit the ground yet.
I saw one huge pine branch, 8 feet long. It came down. I mean, I didn't see it fall, but it was sticking vertically in the ground, stuck in the ground this much,
Yeah.
just sticking straight up,
Yeah.
right by the trail. So you can imagine the force that had.
Yeah.
coming
You don't
down.
want to be on the receiving end of one of those
Yeah.
lawn darts.
Yeah.
pile driver, be more appropriate.
God darts.
Yeah. Thanksgiving, I was out snow blowing my driveway, and I had a big top of an oak tree come right down, right next to me as I was out snow blowing. All of a sudden, I heard a crackling noise. I'm going, where's that coming from? And then thump within 5 feet of me. It's like, oh my, 5 feet.
Yeah.
But it would have killed me if it had hit me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look up.
Yeah, absolutely. Look up. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just be careful if
Okay.
you're headed out in the woods,
Alright.
and especially if you're on something that hasn't been cleaned yet. There's
Yeah.
probably something hanging up.
Makes good sense. Right?
I'm all set.
And so am I. Cindy's not here.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh,
Moved by Matt, seconded by Gage. All those in favor signify
Aye.
by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes 5-0-0. It is now 8:03 PM.
Motorized, I mean, it can or not, can not include bicycling, horseback riding. I mean, you gotta hunt, you gotta register if you're gonna go hunting, right? So,
In this definition, the only restrictive language I